Welcome back as we kick off the afternoon sessions here at the opening day of the 7th Atlantic Council Global Energy Forum. In this second block of programming, we're going to focus on the geopolitics of the energy system and how that's impacting our energy future. A geopolitical crisis in Europe has manifested into a crisis across global energy markets. The response of the global community will shape the contours of next year, and we should take seriously, I'm sure we all are doing that, the lesson of the last year that geopolitics should not be ignored in the energy transition. Dan Yergin wrote in the Wall Street Journal that we had amnesia about energy security, and certainly we don't have that amnesia any longer. But to that end, I can think of no better speaker to kick off our agenda this afternoon. To set the stage for us with his insights into energy and geopolitics, I'm delighted to introduce General Jim Jones. General Jones has served twice as the Atlantic Council's chairman, and he's now serving as the Atlantic Council's chairman emeritus. He served as National Security Advisor to President Barack Obama, as Commandant of the U.S. Marine Corps, as Commander of the United States European Command, and Supreme Allied Commander Europe at NATO. I think it's safe to say that there is no other individual in the world who has had all of those jobs. So we are truly honored to have General Jones here with us today. And thank you, General Jones, thank you, Jim, for your service to the Atlantic Council, our country, and the world, and thank you in particular for your friendship. General Jones, the floor is yours.
How this is a pivot.
Very much for that very generous introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, what an honor it is to be with you in this forum and to be back here in Abu Dhabi to continue this very, very important discussion on energy. I'm really thrilled to be here, and I know from talking to you, many of you are as happy as I am to be back here. Goes without saying that the world is confronting overlapping generational challenges, and energy is a common thread to those challenges. Energy security, energy affordability, and sustainability are today the cornerstone of global stability and development. We can see how each of these objectives is front and center in global affairs today. Nowhere is the importance of energy security more visible than in the context of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Vladimir Putin is using energy as a weapon, leveraging Russia's status as a key global exporter of oil and gas to, in a literal sense, freeze his adversaries into submitting to his revanchist ends. His invasion has forced Europe to dramatically and rapidly reconfigure its energy supply chains to reduce the dependence on Moscow. Putin's weaponization of energy has made it clear that nations must carefully monitor supply chains to ensure steady access to energy and avoid being vulnerable to energy blackmail in an increasingly contested world. We should also pay great attention to the critical energy infrastructure and its vulnerability as well. Energy affordability is also critical. The height of the COVID-19 pandemic witnessed a dramatic decrease in energy prices as the global economy slowed very precipitously. On the other hand, high energy prices, exacerbated by Russia's actions, are making it very difficult to climb out of the COVID-19 recession. Energy affordability thus has macro implications for the global economy, not to mention a direct impact on the wallets and pocketbooks of individuals and families throughout the world. And finally, we can't lose sight of the importance of energy sustainability. Extreme weather events are increasing, and the scientific community has made it clear that we are heading down a dangerous path. We need to move to transition to more sustainable sources of renewable energy. Without that, the acceleration of climate change, absent serious, coordinated, and lasting efforts to improve sustainability, resilience, and mitigation will have a devastating impact on global development, on economic growth, and security. It risks fostering economic stagnation and reducing opportunities for the poor and the marginalized, and it could fuel conflicts born of economic malaise, resource competition, and more. So, ladies and gentlemen, international cooperation, as mentioned this morning, is needed to address these challenges, including ensuring supply chains remain secure, prices remain affordable, and coordinated action is taken to stop or diminish the worst effects of climate change as we transition to a sustainable future. The most immediate challenge afflicting global energy security and affordability is unfortunately the return of great power competition, and in particular Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The invasion of Ukraine has triggered shockwaves throughout the energy trade that affect every global citizen and will take years to settle. Emerging economies are being hit the hardest, losing energy access amid a period of elevated volatile prices. All of this is taking place against the backdrop of climate change, unforgiving droughts, and destabilizing weather patterns. The physical energy infrastructure in Ukraine is under daily siege, crippling the country's population and setting the stage for a long, hard post-war recovery. Moreover, as I said previously, the invasion has proven to be a wake-up call for Europe with regards to energy security. Mild weather and rapid action to shift supply chains have enabled Europe to weather the storm. Furthermore, efforts such as the 3 Seas initiative are increasingly vital for blunting Russia's use of energy as a weapon. This is a Central and Eastern European launched and led effort that has accelerated the development of cross-border transportation, energy, and digital infrastructure across the region between the Black, Baltic, and Adriatic Seas. The 3 Seas initiative, of which the Atlantic Council is very proud to have been a part of in its conceptual days, is a timely model for the cooperation that is necessary to ensure energy security, but also affordability and sustainability. The initiative is geared towards catalyzing the development of regional infrastructure, including pipelines and power lines, to diversity of the energy supplies and to the strengthening of energy resilience. The institutional core of the 3 Seas is the 3 Seas Initiative Investment Fund, a unique and innovative public-private partnership set up to mobilize private finance in support of the region's infrastructure projects. The fund has already been financed with over $1 billion from member states and aims to grow to from $3 to $5 billion with private capital, and the United States, with the Biden administration announcing 6 months ago its intent to support this fund with $300 million, an investment that will hopefully be finalized in the near term. The fund itself is managed by a commercial firm / entity and operates on purely commercial principles, free from political interference. One of its first investments involves a network of Central European solar panel farms, an investment that underscores how sustainable energy is fully consistent, if not embraced, by the 3 Seas vision. And I'm proud to say that the Atlantic Council has a long history with the 3 Seas initiative, dating back to its launch in 2016. Romania has offered to host the 2023 3 Seas Initiative Conference in Bucharest for the second time, and we hope to see many of you there. Many of us, including myself, believe this initiative's relevance and urgency has actually been elevated by the era of geostrategic confrontation in which we find ourselves today. When I look across this hall and see the number of people I've had a chance to speak with, I see a significant amount of capital represented by both the commercial and governmental sectors present here today. Central and Eastern Europe is a region that provides a rare mix of high growth and stable and reliable governments. Investing in the 3 Cs, its energy projects, if not the 3 Cs fund itself, would be an investment in exactly the type of innovative public-private partnerships needed to drive towards the energy transition in an age of dangerous climate change and volatile geopolitical challenges. The war in Ukraine and energy decoupling from Russia has also awakened us to the dangers of overdependence on China. The CCP is attempting to dominate the green energy technologies of the future and the critical minerals necessary for their production. It's also using slave labor in Xinjiang to produce solar panels. It's gaining malign influence with countries in the global south to secure critical minerals. For example, it dominates the world's supply of cobalt through its influence in the Congo. Just as the free world reduced its energy dependence on Russia, we must do the same with China. Responsible countries have to make sure that we're not subsidizing China's genocide by purchasing solar panels made with slave labor. The Biden administration passed a law in June banning imports from China's Xinjiang regions, and since then, more than 1,000 shipments of solar energy components with hundreds of millions of dollars, worth hundreds of millions of dollars, have been stopped at U.S. ports. We should also ensure that the free world wins the race for the green technologies of the future, so that we're not dependent on other countries, particularly China, as I mentioned. The U.S. National Science and Technology Council's list of 19 critical and emerging technologies includes advanced nuclear energy technologies and renewable energy generation and storage. Some, including the Atlantic Council experts like Matthew Kronig and Ash Jain, have proposed a democratic technology alliance to ensure the free world maintains the lead in 21st century technologies, including green technology. This will mean making the right R&D investments at home, export controls to prevent China from stealing intellectual property, and reshoring and friendshoring critical energy supply chains to trusted countries and away from the threat. We need a better strategy to compete for influence in the global south so that countries like the Congo have alternatives to doing business with China uniquely. Meanwhile, the realities of great power competition are shaping the contours of the energy transition, with concerns around energy supply chains of both today and tomorrow, influencing how countries build partnerships to both achieve and thrive in a net zero world. Simply put, left unchecked, today's geopolitical risks are precursors to possible political and economic risks that have the potential to undermine global stability in the forthcoming decades. States are actively seeking control of areas that contain strategic energy reserves, such as oil, and maneuvering to ensure access to the critical minerals that will fuel clean energy growth in the future. States are actively seeking to ensure that they are the manufacturing powerhouses of the technology crucial to clean energy, wind turbines, solar panels, and batteries. This must not let competition in this realm impede progress that benefits the world as a whole. The road back to stability and security is built in large part on pursuing an energy transition that brings affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy to everyone. Toward this end, we need an all-of-the-above approach to energy that it enables us to reach a net zero world while undergoing a practical, achievable transition. Achieving net zero will take time, and it will require developing key technologies including more efficient energy systems and responsibly using a broad mix of energies. Moreover, international cooperation will be necessary to muster the capital necessary to finance this transition. We've heard from experts as they reckon with these challenges and charted a path out of the turbulent, divided status quo. We grappled with Europe's energy crisis and its knock-on effects around the world. We parsed issues of energy reliability and climate diplomacy, and we explored the 2023 global energy agenda. The message was clear. Our focus must be on bringing energy markets into balance in a manner that steadies the path to a low-carbon future and safeguards the energy security necessary to foster economic growth and prosperity that the world so desperately needs. To sum up, the world we need to create must be based around a few core principles. First, international cooperation is non-negotiable, as was mentioned this morning. Cooperation is necessary to ensure stable supply chains and energy security, to keep prices affordable, which is critical to economic growth, and to ensure a sustainable path forward that allows us to navigate the challenges of climate change. Cooperation will be necessary to facilitate a transition to a net zero world, whether in terms of bringing together the brain trusts of different countries, developing more efficient technologies, or in piecing together joint financing mechanisms to scale up more sustainable energy systems. Second, we need to be practical, meaning we must follow an all-of-the-above approach to energy as we transition. Moving to a net zero world is an urgent challenge, and we cannot lose sight of that. On the other hand, forsaking realism and taking too narrow an approach to energy will harm our ability to safeguard energy security and affordability in the near term. And finally, we must be bold and we must be innovative, not only in the sense of technological development, but in pursuing cooperative models like the 3Cs initiative that foster connectivity across borders. In the end, with collective will and coordination, we can overcome challenges such as climate change and great power competition to foster a more energy secure, affordable, and sustainable world. Thank you very much for your attention. It's an honor to be here with you. Thank you.